All right, so to make this skirt, the first step is going to be to measure your waist, your round waist measurement. So this is like a high waist short skirt. So we're going to measure our high waist. Now your high waist is around your belly button. Just put your tape around your belly button, and whatever measurement you get, you are going to divide it by 4. So I'm going to mark 9 inches as my high waist measurement. So after marking that 9 inches for the high waist measurement, then I'm also going to mark my low waist. But to mark my low waist measurement, I'm going to measure 4 inches from that point where I marked for my high waist downwards 4 inches. So on that 4-inch point is where I am now going to mark my low waist measurement. So this is basically the measurement from your high waist to your low waist. That is the 4 inches. So my low waist measurement, you also put the tape round your waist, normally where your trouser waist is normally when it's not high waist. So mine is going to be 10.5 inches, and then I'm just going to make it more elaborate, and then I'll also measure another 4 inches downwards from that low waist measurement point, and this point is where I'm going to place my hip measurement. That is my round hip. So for my round hip measurement, I'm also going to be using 10.5 inches thereabout, and then I've just marked that. So after marking that point for the hip measurement, we are going to measure another 4 inches. Sorry, we are going to mark the full length. I'm going to mark the full length, or I marked the full length of the skirt. So the full length of the skirt I'm using is 16 inches, but that 16 inches is actually without any sewing allowance. I am still going to add my sewing allowance later. So for my thigh, because the short skirt is obviously going to end at the thigh just before the knee, so just make sure you measure your round thigh measurement, put the tape around your thigh and measure. So mine, I'm going to mark 9 inches for that. And then after we have made all these points, the next thing is just going to be to join all the points. So after I have made all my points, I am going to use a ruler to join those points together. So we're going to join from the upper waist to the lower waist, and then from the lower waist to the hip, and from the hip to the full length of the skirt, or the end of the skirt basically. So you can use your ruler to join all the parts, or you can use your French curve. As you can see, I'm using my French curve here because I wanted to make my skirt a bit more curved, as opposed to being just straight if I use a ruler to draw the line. So you're also going to join the end of your skirt together, but before that I just added 2 inches of sewing allowance. So I added 2 inches because I'm still going to have to attach a band to the top of this skirt, and I don't want, when I do that, then the skirt will become really short. So I just added 2 inches to just be safe in my fabric usage. So after that, I use my curve to also join to that 2-inch point that I made. I use my curve to make it more visible. I also adjusted the lines with my ruler, and then yeah, I just used the ruler to join the end of the point, that 2-inch point, to actually the center fold point of my skirt. So after I have joined all my lines together, the skirt is basically, the front panel of the skirt is basically ready. So what you can do, and what I did also, I went to ahead to add another 1.5 inches on the side of the skirt. This is also for seam allowance. It's going to be really useful, especially if I do gain weight and I want to adjust the skirt later. I will be able to adjust it easily. So that is why I added 1.5 inches to all the sides of the skirt. So yeah, after adding the sewing allowance, then I went ahead to cut, because that is the only thing left to do. So I went ahead to cut out my front panel. After cutting out the front panel, whatever is left is not much anymore. So after cutting out the front panel, I'll just show you guys how I did the back panel and also the band for the skirt. And yeah, that's all. So making the skirt is actually quite easy, and you know, it's just easy basically. So yeah, I'm done cutting. This is my front panel. So if you open it up, it's going to look something like this, like a rectangle with curved sides. So I'm going to place this on my back panel and cut it out for you guys. Okay, so to do the back panel is really easy, because all you have to do is just duplicate the front on the back panel. But I left 1 inch, about 1 inch of fabric on the left side of the fabric, and I folded the fabric. I put the fabric on the fold, then I left about 1 inch on the left side and placed my skirt on it, and then just cut it out just like you can see. So after cutting it out, this 1 inch space that I left is my zipper allowance. This is where I'm going to fix my zip. So after cutting out the skirt, I'm just going to use my scissors to divide that fold for the back panel, divide it so that I can easily put my zip on the back of the skirt. So you're going to have 2 panels for the back of the skirt and 1 panel for the front of the skirt. And that's basically it. That's the main draft of how to make a skirt. If you want, you don't even have to add a band, but just for, you know, style purposes, I decided to add a band to mine. But even like this, your skirt is already basically cut, and you can make a skirt like this and still be able to rock it anytime. So after this, I'm going to show you guys how I made the band, so keep watching. Okay, so making the band is also pretty straightforward. Just measure the waist of your skirt. So this is the front panel of my skirt, and I'm going to measure the waist. The waist is actually plus the sewing allowance you added, because the sewing allowance also has to be on the band. So mine is about 22 inches. So as you can see, I already cut out a band, but I'm just showing you guys that the band is actually 22 inches in length, and in width the band is 4 inches, and it was actually folded. So you cut out 8 inches of fabric basically and fold it in 2 to give you 4 inches. So this is basically the band. All I'm going to do is to sew and join the end of the band to the edge of the skirt, and that's it. Okay, so when after we're done with the band, the next thing I'm just going to do is to add my darts. So for the darts, there are going to be 2 darts in the front and the back of the skirt. So to make this dart, all you need to do is simply measure your waist and find like the midpoint of your waist measurement. So as you can see, for mine, the midpoint of my waist measurement is actually about 5 inches thereabouts. So I measured, or I marked that 5-inch point as the midpoint. Then on that 5-inch point that I had made, I just also measured downwards 3 inches, because the dart length is actually 3 inches. So I measured 3 inches downwards, and then I just use my ruler to make like a V shape, a V-like shape. You can use actual measurement. You can measure about 1/2 inch on both sides, but I just decided to draw mine just with my head, you know. So yeah, you make a V shape on both sides, and you can see if you fold it like this is actually your dart. So of course I'm going to copy this on the other part of the skirt as well to make them 2 dots on the front and 2 dots on the back panel. So guys, this is the complete look of the skirt. I attached the band to the skirt. I made the 2 dots. If you look closely, you can see it. I attached the zipper at the back, and I also lined the skirt. So I actually used lining fabric to make a copy of the front and back panel, and then sewed it together before I went ahead to attach my band. That is just to give the skirt more body. So yeah, this is how the skirt looks. You can see the zipper at the back and everything looks pretty great. So thanks guys for watching, and give my video a thumbs up if you found it useful.